Let's talk about team needs in the NFC North.
Yes, I'm going to lean on you, NFL guy.
Okay, fine.
So the NFC North, not a lot of teams stopping the run. So I guess let's start with Chicago.
The team that does not stop the run
Yeah,
the most.
one of those teams, yeah.
And so as we look at their biggest need, it's just kind of everywhere on the defense.
It is.
Charles Tillman, 34, torn triceps. It looks like his career is coming to an end. Lance Briggs, a free agent, not likely to come back. They've basically been a horrible bottom five defense the last 2 years, ever since Levy Smith left.
Their great addition already, though, is Vic Fangio. Shifting to that 3-4 that he ran so successfully.
But they have a lot of
49ers.
players that don't really fit in the 3-4. So they're going to, outside of last year's top draft pick Kyle Fuller, they've got some serious needs on defense. And then on the other side of the ball, the offensive line wasn't great last year, but that was a lot of that had to do with injuries. But they need a definite upgrade at right tackle.
Yes,
Jordan Mills is not the starting right tackle that you want.
Right, offensive line and just right up the middle, the linebacking core of the defensive line makes the most sense for Chicago.
Yeah.
Next, let's go. The Lions. Speaking of losing beef and losing defenders, where do they need to go?
Offensive line, another. What team doesn't need help on the offensive line? You always need more bodies, but for them specifically, left guard and right tackle. Travis Swanson should be able to replace Dominic Raiola pretty well. Left guard, Rob Sims has been in the NFL forever.
I remember him.
He's aging, declining, and a free agent.
He was in Tecmo Super Bowl.
Yes. And at right tackle, Adrian Waddle. One of the best names for an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Not so much an actual good offensive lineman. So left guard, right tackle, and then defensive tackle.
These are the headliners.
Obviously, the biggest name, Ndamukong Suh. They're going to try to keep him, but even then, they're probably going to lose Nick Fairley.
They're not going to be able to
Mosley,
afford both.
not the young C.J. Mosley, the other C.J. Mosley.
It's very confusing.
And let's see. Running back, they just cut Reggie Bush, so they need someone to pair with Joyke Bell.
Yes.
Probably not your first round pick, but
at
some point they're going to need to draft a running back.
You would assume somebody can succeed in that offense, though, with how well they can throw the ball.
I would think so. But maybe like a scat back.
I would like somebody that was able to pass block and somebody that can catch out of the backfield.
And then rounding out their needs, after Darius Slade, they've got some holes at cornerback. Rasheed Mathis was really solid for them, but he's going to be 35 in August, and he's a free agent. So don't be surprised if they go for a cornerback.
A team that's been good for quite some time now. Green Bay has done a very good job addressing their issues both in the draft and in free agency.
They're so good at building and keeping their own players.
Maintaining is so hard. What do they need to do?
Well, when we talk about maintaining, keeping their players, Brian Balaga, their right tackle, excellent right tackle, could play left tackle for a lot of teams probably.
Yep.
He's in free agency, and if he leaves, they'll need a new right tackle. Their biggest concern, and we saw it last year on defense, inside linebacker, they just cut A.J. Hawk and Brad Jones. That was such a position of need for them that they actually moved their best player, Clay Matthews, into the inside linebacker throughout the year.
A particularly important position in that division with how much there has to be in coverage and support the run.
And then speaking of supporting the run, defense, nose tackle, B.J. Raji and LaTroy Guion, both free agents.
Yeah.
And both coming off of issues, one of torn biceps for Raji and Guion with
how much do you invest in somebody that has been so good when he's healthy, but you know that you have the injury concerns.
Exactly. And then I'd probably add to the mix Tremont Williams is a free agent, so probably a new cornerback for them.
All right, Minnesota, a team that's actually surprisingly stacked in certain parts, but will have a couple of major issues.
This is a team that's on the rise. They've got their quarterback situated, so they can actually take some chances, I think. A big thing that they have a position of need now, wide receiver. Greg Jennings, 32, obviously on the downside of his career. Cordell Patterson.
Major step back last year.
Major step back, former first-round pick, and maybe you expect a bounce-back year, but when Charles Johnson is the breakout wide receiver for you.
That's an issue.
Yeah, you have an issue. Left guard. Their offensive line wasn't great last year, but the big place they need to upgrade is left guard, where Charlie Johnson is not getting a job.
They were decent. They do have that hole, and then Adrian Peterson and his future and what they approach with the running back position.
It seems more and more likely that he's not going to come
back
to
the
Vikings.
Not great, Bob.
And Matt Asiata is not the running back of the future for anybody.
Yeah, and on the other side of the field, linebacker. It seems like we've talked about this last year. Still an issue, even with the addition of the very good Anthony Barr on one side.
Is very good, but Chad Greenway is losing a step every season. Counts has a big cap hit. And I would just like to see an improvement in terms of quality. And also, strong safety might be an issue for them. Robert Blanton got benched by Mike Zimmer at the end of the season. So look for him to improve the secondary, too.
I expect that defense to keep getting better and better with Zimmer. I
agree.
really like him a lot.
He's a fantastic coach.
Yeah.
All right, so that is our NFC North needs
That's
in
a
the
fun
draft.
division. I like it.
Yeah, I do too. And I like this episode of Future Consideration. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.